So earlier today, I was thinking about this Packers defense heading into 2023 and sort of asking myself the question, is it possible that right now this Packers defense is being underrated heading into 2023? If we look back to last season, before the season started, I, for one, thought the Packers were going to potentially have a top 5 defense. You looked at all the guys they had coming back. You had Jaire Alexander coming back from his injury. You had, Quay Walker joining the team, middle linebacker, Devontae Wyatt. I thought that things were looking up. I thought that maybe the Packers could have one of the better, if not one of the best defenses in the NFL. And unfortunately, in 2022, that just was not the case. I think there are lots of different reasons for that, one of which being Rashawn Gary going down with a torn ACL, Eric Stokes injuring his ankle, missing about half of the season. And so going into 2023, looking at this team here, looking at the people we lost, looking at the guys we gained, I want to go through each position on defense and sort of see, are we better or worse than we were in 2023, and then give my overall assessment about this Packers defense. So if you look at the Packers defense last season, they were the 16th best scoring defense in the NFL, so about the middle of the pack in the NFL. Looking at the edge rusher position, last year we had Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, starters until, of course, Rashawn Gary went down. And now the question is, when will Rashawn Gary be back? We don't exactly know. It's possible he's ready week 1, but it also could take a little bit more time depending on exactly how long it takes for that ACL to be fully healed up. And also, too, when it comes to ACL injuries, sometimes it takes time for the player to knock that rust off. So, of course, looking at Lucas Van Ness, Packers first-round draft pick, number 13 overall, the 2023 draft. If Rashawn Gary does miss time to start the season, Lucas Van Ness can come in and start on the edge. And I think that looking at just the size of Lucas Van Ness, 6'5", insanely explosive. He's already seemingly been showing some great things at OTAs. The Packers could utilize him on the outside until Rashawn Gary returns. But the second that Rashawn Gary is back and you have Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, and Lucas Van Ness who can flip around on the edge, I'd say this is a much better edge group than we had last season because outside of these guys, we don't have a ton of depth. We have JJ Enagbare, who I think could take a step forward in his second season, a few other guys as well. But with Lucas Van Ness in this edge group, I think that sort of takes this group to the next level, only if Rashawn Gary is healthy. If not, I'd say it's a slight dip down. I mean, because Rashawn Gary has proven just the caliber of player he is when he is playing. Then if we move to the interior D-line, we lost Dean Lowry and Jaron Reed. Two guys who I think are solid veterans. I'd say they're average interior D-line players. They have lots of playing time in the NFL, so they sort of know what's going on. They're not going to make those kind of rookie mistakes, but they were average at best. I don't think they were top-tier interior defensive linemen. And so then you add the fact that those guys are now gone. We have Devontae Wyatt from Georgia, our first-round draft pick, one of the first-round draft picks last season, who's going to have a much bigger role. And so I think that with Wyatt coming in, likely taking a year 2 jump, I think that he could perform better than both Lowry and Jaron Reed. I think there's that opportunity for him to really take a big step this next season. So you add that to the fact, you put him beside Kenny Clark, and then also too, Lucas Van Ness, first-round draft pick this year, can also play on the interior. So we could utilize potentially Preston Smith on the outside of the edge, Rashawn Gary on the edge, and then Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness inside. Also could throw TJ Slayton in there or Colby Wooden, 4th-round draft pick. So overall, I think that there's a lot more upside this year for the defensive line in general, but especially this interior defensive line. The fact that I think Devontae Wyatt has a chance to be better than Lowry and Reed were. And I think you have Lucas Van Ness, who once he gets a grip of things in this offense is also, I think, going to be an upgrade from those guys as well. So overall, I'd say the defensive line is going to be improved in 2023. Then looking to the middle linebacker group, we have Quay Walker coming into his second season, and it's very often that the guys from year 1 to year 2, those rookies, coming into their second season, having a full season under their belt, they take a big jump forward. So I would expect Quay Walker to really take a big jump in his game in year 2, and you add him alongside Devondre Campbell, I would say that group's going to be slightly better in 2023 just because of Quay Walker taking that next leap forward. If we look at corner, we have Jaire Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes still dealing with that injury. We'll see when he's back. We don't know when he'll be back for sure. Keyshawn Nixon could play inside at nickel corner until Eric Stokes comes back. Maybe they put Rasul back on the inside. Who knows? It depends on I think how all those guys are looking when Stokes is fully ready and fully healthy. So overall, I'd say the corner group is about the same as last season. Not really any major changes there. And then finally, safety position. We, of course, lose Adrian Amos, who's a staple here of this Packers defense for the past few seasons. I do think he took a little bit of a dip down in play in 2022 compared to previous seasons. If you look at his passer rating, it's dipped down, or passer rating allowed, it's dipped down in the past couple seasons. But I think that when you look at Adrian Amos gone, Darnell Savage likely being a starter based on defensive coordinator Joe Barry's comments. But then we have a lot of other guys who could potentially come in and fill that safety role. Rudy Ford, Jonathan Owens, who was the Texans starting safety, Tarvarius Moore, who played in San Francisco for a while. We have Anthony Johnson, 7th round draft pick this season. There's a chance he could push his way up there. So overall, I would say the safety room is worse off going into 2023. Just losing a veteran who has been a staple of this defense for years and years, and Adrian Amos, I would say this safety group is going to be slightly worse off than last season. So overall, I would say interior D-line and edge rusher will take a jump forward as long as Rashawn Gary is healthy. Middle linebacker group, take a jump forward, and then corner group, stay the same. And then safety, slight drop-off. But overall, I would say that this Packers defense has more potential in 2023, in big part due to Lucas Van Ness, because I really think that he could be a game changer on this Packers defense. Will it happen his first season? It's possible. There could be some learning curve he needs to get on to be able to reach that next level, because Rashawn Gary wasn't the guy he is now in his first season. But hopefully he can do enough to really take this D-line to the next level early in the season. So overall, I think this Packers defense has a chance to be better than last season. Will that be, top 5? I don't know. It also comes down to Joe Barry, the way he manages his defense. And I think that if these guys, these young players who are entering year 2, Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, and these rookies can get things together, I definitely think we can be better than the 16th best scoring defense in the NFL. And with a young team in Jordan Love, with young receivers, if this Packers defense can be really good, that'll be one of the greatest weapons for Jordan Love. Get the ball back more often, allow less points. It means Jordan Love needs to score less points, so pretty simple math. It would be great if this Packers defense can take that leap. So I wouldn't say that top 10 is out of the question. Everything needs to sort of go right, and these players who are entering new roles need to take that next step forward. But if that can happen, I think the Packers could be around the 10th best defense in the NFL, which would be improved from last season. But please let me know your thoughts on the Packers defense heading into 2023 in the comments down below. And if you haven't subscribed, you want to stay up to date with all Packers news, feel free to subscribe. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.